I'm Vince Ferragamo.
And I'm Jackie Slater.
We want to invite you to join us each and every week on our show, OnPoint live stream.
We're going to give you the inside scoop.
Don't miss it. Hey, Jackie, we're back live here on OnPoint. And this next segment, Jackie, we've got the caller to call in. And we got a couple callers on the line, and we want to interact with our viewers out there. So who's the first caller we've got?
Is that me?
Is that Dave? Oh, yeah. I think that sounds like Dave again. Crazy. Is this Crazy Dave?
Somehow I'm able to get through your busy line every week. I don't know how that happens.
Why is it that Dave is always the guy that gets
every
through?
Week. I don't know.
I think he's calling. I think he's jumping the gun. They're putting him on hold. Gobble is putting him on hold over there somewhere.
That's right. You must have him on hold. How long you been on hold, Dave? Too long, right?
I've been on hold for a while. I was able to cook dinner while I was on hold.
That's what it is. He's calling it early, get the head start. What's on your mind, Dave?
So I was talking with some people earlier that this year, you seem like you have your top tier people. You got Buffalo, you got Kansas City, you got Philadelphia, you got a bunch of people in the middle, and then you got your bottom feeders, Jacksonville maybe, and Houston. But they're all playing great football. And yesterday, a prime example is Dallas put up 34 points and lost to Jacksonville. And Houston took Kansas City to the last play. It's just these teams are playing. These supposed to be growing teams have good players. They're playing good football.
Well, all I can tell you, Dave, is that this is the NFL. Every team can beat you on any given Sunday, so you got to become prepared. And these teams. I mean, Lovie Smith down in Texas. I mean, he's been coaching in this league for a long time, so he knows football, and he got his defense playing. I mean, they were in that game right to the end, as you mentioned, and the Chiefs just took them in the last drive of the game. So
Correct.
A lot of these games have been determined by the last drive. Whoever has the ball at the end of the game is usually going to win the game. So, I mean, again, tonight we see another close game. Everyone's been close. Some of these games that you mentioned, even the Cowboys and Jaguars, Jackie, there was 40 points scored by the Jags. And Trevor Lawrence threw 4 touchdowns. And that's Doug Peterson. Now
Absolutely.
He's got a great track record, Dave. He's won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia, so they're very capable, and they're not a slouch team. They have a chance to make the playoffs and do some, make
100%.
Dave,
100%.
Dave, a number of years ago, and I was still playing at this particular time, they got a new collective bargaining agreement, and that new collective bargaining agreement, the goal of it was to have parity in the National Football League, for every team to have the equal opportunity to acquire the pieces to the puzzle that they needed to complete their opportunity, their chance to be a champion, Vince. Mm-hmm. And football parity is something that we're watching. That's primarily what you're talking about. And parity has to do primarily with the personnel. You're not going to get a better down lineman than I'm going to get. You're not going to get a better quarterback than I had the chance to get. I have as many opportunities to get the great players as you do. It's just a matter of organizational decision-making as to how they go about getting these players. So, number one, parity is what the National Football League sought and what they got. So everybody's got the guys. Now, this is where you have to – this is what differentiates the good teams from the also-rans. It's the coaching. In my opinion, the coaching in the National Football League, how you take those chess pieces, how you manipulate the next guy's chess pieces with your chess pieces, how you go about finding deficiencies in what their strengths are, either offensively or defensively, this is what takes parity to a different level. And when you talk about Jacksonville has been a losing football team now for a lot of years. And what happens when you lose in the National Football League? You get higher draft picks. You see, Dave? Right. Your picks that you get are higher than the picks of the people who are winning. So if you go and look at the Jacksonville Jaguars roster or the Houston Texans roster, what you see is some very, very talented young men that you haven't heard their names in the last 2 or 3 years because they were dominating in college. And now
ETN, Jackie, for example, the running back.
Absolutely,
He's
that's
scoring
another
touchdowns. He
example.
ran for like almost 100 yards yesterday, Dave.
Absolutely.
And
He got
really
hurt his
starting
first-
to
got
come-
hurt his first year.
But now he's starting to come along, Jackie.
Absolutely.
And then you got Trevor Lawrence too, another great quarterback out of Clemson.
Absolutely.
Coming into the NFL. So
Same comparable
these guys
talent.
can put up. These guys can put up some numbers.
So, Dave, to answer your question, this is why you're seeing these teams play so consistently. It's because of the talent. It's because of the talent and the way they're being deployed. Like Vince said, Doug Peterson, we saw him beat the Patriots a couple of years when he was at Philadelphia a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl. Okay, this guy's been down around the block a few times. So you load him up with that kind of talent, there's no telling, what he's capable of getting doing. It's just a matter of him getting everybody on the same page.
And like Dave, like you said, though, they were playing the Dallas Cowboys. This is a team that, has high aspirations. I think this is one of the best teams in the NFL, but they played them toe-to-toe.
Toe-to-toe.
And they end up winning at the end. So it's
and it makes for great, from the fans' perspective, it just makes for great games.
Right.
Now every game can be a great game, and that's just Chicago yesterday, Chicago and the Eagles.
Absolutely.
They won by 5. That was just it was a great game to watch. Great games to watch.
Well,
Speaking of
Justin Fields, though, that's
that's
my
what I
wife's
wanna
favorite
talk
quarterback.
about.
Here, Dave, this guy has a separated shoulder, and he said, "Just give me some Tylenol. I'm going to take some Tylenol and just get in the lineup."
with a separated shoulder.
Maybe some of these other quarterbacks ought to take a lead on this guy.
100%. I agree with that.
Did you
Isn't
see
that
that?
something?
Did you see that one run that he had, Vince? Did you see that one run?
He's
It
amazing.
was
I've seen some great
unbelievable.
runs this kid can.
But here again, this is where I differ. This is my pet peeve because I don't want my quarterback running around like that. But obviously, if you're capable of doing that, people seem to they want that because look at what they're doing with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. They put him in a situation where he's like a running back.
Yeah.
But what I want the Hurts kid. I want the kid in Philadelphia
do both.
who can make the decisions from the pocket, and then when you turn your back on him in coverage, then he can kill you down with his legs. I'd rather have that because I think that's what wins consistently in the National Football League, Dave and Vince. I really do.
You're right.
Well,
You're right, Dave.
But I will tell you, it just makes for it makes for great games. It makes for great games, and it's fun to watch.
Well,
it's fun to see them do well.
What we said at the top of the show, Dave, it says this was a week of don't leave your seat early week because they keep you in
Oh, my
suspense till the
goodness.
last play of the game. I mean, every game, every team just seems like, like you said, you're never out of the game till the last play.
And
So-
another thing too that we have to consider, guys, relative to these good games being played late in the season, is that when you play a 3-game preseason and everybody is concerned about saving their guys, getting them healthy and not letting them get hurt and all of that stuff. So early in the football season, it's like preseason, and guys are dealing with the bumps and the bruises and the rigors of the sport through week 4, 5, and 6. So coming out of those weeks is when guys are healthier and they're able to play their best football. Conversely, if you take your football team and gradually feed them the physicality early on, let them get going with the physical parts, let them get adjusted to the rigors of the sport early, now that team is going to be productive early and throughout the season. And I think that's something that
Hey, Dave,
we
I
should
got to
be
ask
looking
you this
for.
question. I got to ask Jackie, too. But they
Go
did
ahead.
some house cleaning in that Buffalo Bills game. At the end of the game, I asked Jackie, have you ever got down there on your hands and knees and cleaned the AstroTurf and tried to get for that kicker to make
Right.
that field goal?
Yeah, well, the take
Did you
on
see
that,
that?
I saw that.
Chris Berman's like quickest 3
I
minutes.
loved it.
How do you can't penalize them for it. Now if you drive the machine
Oh,
out
that-
like the Patriots
Right,
did
they
against
did.
the Raiders that
That's right.
year and start with they got a rule for that.
Right.
But there is no rule for
says
players getting down on their hands and knees and cleaning out a spot for their kicker.
that
to
was
kick it.
smart.
It
I
was
thought,
very
Jackie,
Yeah,
smart.
nor
very
should there be a rule for that.
Yeah.
There probably will be a rule for them
Yeah, but it's
next year.
Hey, why not? They had the timeout, Dave. That's the great part of keeping your timeouts when you need to keep them at the late in the game.
It was fun to watch them clear that field off. I got a kick out of that.
So,
That was
Dave,
great.
listen, I know you're a fan, and you're calling in to ask us the questions because Vince, he truly is the expert here. I want you to know that.
No.
But I want to ask you, Dave, and I
Go
know
ahead.
how closely you watched this football team here in Los Angeles. If Baker Mayfield and Matthew Stafford have comparable talent, And Baker Mayfield is 7, 8 years younger than Matthew Stafford. Who's the guy, if Baker Mayfield finishes this season playing really good football, winning football, competitive football, who's the guy that stays and who's the guy that's got to go?
Well, I think you got to keep Baker. I think you got to keep Baker for that reason. Is that he's still coming into his own. Baker Mayfield is going to be a really good quarterback in the NFL. And I'm a big fan of Baker Mayfield, so I'd keep Baker.
Now, one other question. I got to ask you one other question.
Right.
Now, is Baker Mayfield going to be a good quarterback in the NFL because he stays in Los Angeles, or is he going to be a good quarterback in the NFL regardless of where he goes? Remember what he said last week? He said, "I'm home." And I think that had a lot to do with the conversations that he's had with Sean McVay. What do you think about that?
And I think you're right. I think he's going to be a great Los Angeles Ram quarterback. That's what he's going to be, because he's just, his whole demeanor is going to be different here. This is where he belongs.
But Dave, okay, I like Baker Mayfield as a quarterback, but you've got Matthew Stafford. They gave him a lot of money. And
Yes, they did.
You cannot take him out of the lineup.
Wait a
Jackie,
minute.
come on now. This is a financial
Vince, they're
game
giving
as
everybody.
well.
They're giving everybody a lot of money.
Yeah, but they don't give Baker Mayfield that
Well,
kind of money.
Well, if Matthew Stafford has a $35 million a year, 2 more years on his contract,
Well, who do you think they're going to
and
play,
and they
Jackie?
get rid of him somehow, do you think someone's head might roll? do you think we'll see some rolling heads?
They
around
might
here?
save some money if they got to sign Baker Mayfield. I don't know. We'll see.
I can't wait to see how this turns out. And I really do. I'm like you. I think I like Baker Mayfield's attitude. He's a confident young man. And Vince, you know what? He brings a lot to the table other than the arm talent that Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, said that he does. He's a fiery competitor. And we always appreciate that. You were that way. I remember you jumping in the pile, trying to jumping in the pile.
I gotta have
throwing
some fun
balls,
too,
gonna
Jack?
break your throwing hand.
Yeah,
Vince.
what the heck?
You're gonna break your throwing hand. So
No.
I just can't wait to see how all this shakes out and his mobility. We didn't even talk about Baker Mayfield's mobility. He moves around.
We haven't seen that yet,
like
but we'll
Eric,
see
yeah.
it. We'll see that.
So it's going to be interesting, Dave, to see how that shakes down.
Yeah, got a good evaluation of quarterbacks.
And it's because they're what are they, 3-9 or 4-9 now, whatever they are.
Right.
They have 4 games of three games left to play around with it, because they're not going anywhere.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're
So
not.
figure it out.
So,
Figure it out.
well, hopefully he'll entertain the folks and give us some high aspirations for next year, Dave. How's that?
One more thing, guys, that I think we should take a good close look at. Baker Mayfield is going to. The Rams are going to play the Chargers,
That's right.
and the Chargers now have they have a
80% chance, Jackie, of making the playoffs.
They have an
now.
80% chance of making the playoffs after what happened
Last
in
weekend.
Vegas. After what happened in Vegas.
Well, no,
last
when they
week.
won their game too.
And they won their game too.
Yeah, they won their game.
And it's not like they got a whole bunch of guys that they're worried about down the stretch here, Vince.
Yeah.
Because the Chargers, they have who do they have next? They have
They've got the Rams.
they've got the Rams.
They've got
Their schedule is not as steep.
no.
As what?
Right. They don't have a really tough schedule.
No, they don't have a really tough schedule. So it's going to be interesting to me to see how Baker Mayfield plays against a football team with a young, talented quarterback that's on its way to the playoffs. I think that's going to tell us a lot too about him as a competitor.
Yeah, the Chargers are in Indianapolis next week. Then they're at the Giants, and then they're at the Rams.
That's right. They have the Colts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the team that they're competing with right now is the Patriots, and I think they have Kansas City.
The Jets
Buffalo.
lost too. The Jets and Patriots are two of those teams,
Yeah.
Jackie, that they've kind of jumped over now. They're
So I would. It's
favorite.
almost like okay, if the Rams are not a spoiler, you can pretty much figure that the Chargers are in the playoffs.
But the Chargers, we haven't even talked about the Chargers yet tonight, Jackie. And, the Chargers look good in that game against the Titans. They play great. I like the way they're playing defense. They're getting after it. They're healthy now. They've got Keenan Allen back. They got Mike Williams
Mike
back.
is
Everett's playing good football. You've got Palmer
Everett.
out there. You got Carter. I mean, you got the whole team is
their
playing.
offensive line is
and
playing
their defense
well.
is playing
two rookies,
great.
Vince, they got 2 rookies. A starting right guard and a
telling
starting
you.
left tackle right now that's playing, some
If they
awesome
don't turn the
football.
ball over, Jackie, they're going to be in every game and probably win most of those games.
And don't forget, before Brandon Staley left the Rams had the number 1 defense in the National Football League under his tutelage.
Yeah.
So this guy knows how to put talent together to build a championship quality defense, and it's going to be really interesting. I can't remember the last time the Rams had the number 1 defense in the National Football League, Vince. I can't remember, and that was with Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
I can't
Brandon
remember the last
Staley.
time they
No,
had
I
the
know.
number. So this guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to defend people, and with the weapons that they have, that Lombardi has on the offensive side of the ball, this could be a real surprising team once they get into the playoffs.
Well, Dave, we want to really thank you for calling in. Thanks for joining us again. We'll have to talk to you again next week.
I'll see if I can get in the queue next week.
All right, Dave.
Call
thanks
in
so
early,
much, buddy.
Dave.
All
Call
right.
in
All
early.
right, good evening.
See you,
Thanks.
Dave. You too.
All right,
Have a
Dave.
good night.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, Dave.
How about Dave?
Yeah.
You can tell. See, this is what and I'll say this to our fans that are listening. One of the things that Vince and I always enjoy is to hear, opinions of the people that watch this game. Not necessarily you might have played it when you were younger, but you watch this game, you know this game, you recognize good players when you see them, you recognize good coaching when you see it, and we like to hear that. I like to hear what people think, because a lot of people think, the fans don't care, the fans are the fans are this they just want to come out to no. A lot of the people that I know that are football fans, Vince, they are invested and they enjoy it, and they know weaknesses and strengths when they see them, and they call it like it is. And that's what I like to hear from people who perhaps never even played it down, Vince.
Well, maybe we'll have another caller come in, Jackie. I don't know if we have any more left. We have to ask our producer, but if not, we'll get back to it another day. Next week will be another time for you all to call in and talk to us personally and give us your opinions and give us your comments. Always make sure you look at our website and just jot down a comment for us so we can interact with you and maybe bring out some questions that you want us to answer. But Jackie, as this game goes on, this is halftime now. The Rams, in Green Bay in the frozen tundra up there, 10-6 at halftime.
Did you see the numbers?
So let's see what they come up with the second half.
Did you see the numbers? Baker Mayfield.
No, I did not see these numbers.
The quarterback's numbers are fairly even. So it's not like he's gone to Green Bay and let the weather hinder his efforts, or be intimidated by the big name quarterback that's there.
Exactly.
Now, he has not shied away from doing his job. He does not seem timid at all to me. And this game is in the balance right now. This game could go either way.
I've always said that one of the biggest important drives in any football game is the first drive of the third quarter, because it really identifies your team's halftime conversation and how you're coming out, any adjustments you've made, and how you're going to interpret and move forward the second half. So this first drive that Green Bay is going to come up with will be the telltale sign of what's going to happen for the outcome of this game.
Absolutely. And not just for the Packers, Vince, but what adjustments did the Rams brass make on defense for dealing with Aaron Rodgers and some of those plays that they've been running, that counter, they've been ripping that counter up in there on both sides of the line of scrimmage. They haven't stopped it yet, really. So they're doing a good job of running the football and making Taylor Rapp and those guys engage up around the line of scrimmage, and it could put a lot of pressure on those corners. Anybody, whatever coverage they're playing, when they deploy extra guys in the box and put those guys in man-to-man coverage, that could be a problem.
And, we know both these coaches, Matt LaFleur and McVay, were both coaches together when the Rams were in L.A. a couple of years ago. So they really know each other real well. So that really adds a little bit more flavor to the halftime conversation, Jackie, because they know each other's preparation. They'll know exactly what to come up with, and it'll be real interesting to see what type of plays, if any new plays or new wrinkles we see this second half.
Well, one of the things they concluded after the first half was that the counter was working. That was the first play.
Well, they'll probably
they ran.
stay with that.
That was
Jackie.
the first play they ran off to the left, but it got blown up.
Right.
So both these teams came in here thinking, okay, well, we've been running the counter, let's keep it up. But then the Rams said, hey, they ran the counter, we got to shut it down, which is exactly what they just did.
Right.
There's a sack right there.
There's a sack right off the bat there. So
wow.
the Rams defense coming out to play.
It's 97 again. It's 97 in Hoach. Now, he had converted, number 97, Hoach, is a converted defensive tackle
To
to
a defensive
outside
end.
linebacker, defensive end.
Right.
And he is exclusively rushing over the tackles now instead of over the guards. So
Right.
the combination of him and Floyd off the edge seems to be building some momentum. Seem to be, by the way, for the Green Bay Packers, God bless them.
Wow, my goodness.
Vince,
How many
for the-
holding penalties are you going to have?
For the Green Bay Packers, Vince, think about this. They've got the highest paid left tackle in all of pro football, and he hasn't played a down in 3 years. God bless
That's
him.
not money well spent,
I
that's
hope,
for sure.
he's been injured and all of that, Bakhtari.
Yeah.
But I mean, just think about it, man. He's
Wow.
He's been
We've seen
had
this
a
a
lot of
lot in
problems.
this game so far, Jackie, is the defensive backs are holding the jerseys of these receivers. You're not supposed to hold.
yeah.
That's that's going to be a penalty. So
And they get away with it a lot more times than they get called for, Vince.
Jackie. So as we continue and follow this game, we have one last segment to share with our viewers back home, but we'll have a little in and out segment to finish up in the next go around. So we hope you all continue to watch our show, and as we move forward here, and Jackie, there's only 3 weeks left before Christmas. Christmas is next
Absolutely.
week, and we'll talk a little bit about what you're expecting from Santa Claus, what you're going to get. And,
Yeah.
and
Got my ideas there, but I just want to enjoy the holidays, relax a little bit, Vince. As
Jackie,
always,
I
it's
got
one
a
of my
question
favorite-
for you
one of my
before we go to
favorite times
break.
of the year.
if you were Santa Claus,
Yeah.
what cookies would you leave out? What do you want to see left out?
I would probably leave some chocolate chip, almond chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, you know what my
I like the
favorite would
nut-
be?
I like the nuts with the chocolate.
Yeah,
I just-
walnuts?
Yeah, walnuts. It
yeah.
could be almonds. Vince, it can even be peanuts. I love. I got this particular confectionery.
Oh yeah, the confectionery sugar. 'Cause those
confectionery-
I was just going to say Italian
that I-
wedding cookies, Jackie, have that white confectionery sugar on them, and they're
with
flaky,
the
and they
powder-
have
with the
nuts in
powder-
them.
with the powder.
Yeah,
they melt in your mouth.
Oh
They're like
yes,
butter
that's
cookies.
it.
Yeah, I like
Uh-huh.
those.
Yeah.
I like those. But we were talking about chocolate, weren't we?
Yeah, you
Candy.
chocolate. Yeah, chocolate chip. weren't
Chocolate
you?
chip.
Yeah.
Chocolate chip cookies. The big pieces of chocolate. The big pieces of
With
chocolate.
a
in
nice
there.
glass of milk.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, Vince.
Yeah, we'll see it.
We should be
Well,
talking about
when
that.
we
I
come
need to
right
lose some
back,
weight.
we'll share some more thoughts with you. So hang on. Watch last segment of OnPoint. Thank you for watching. Hi, I'm Vince Ferragamo.
And I'm Jackie Slater.
We want to invite you to join us each and every week on our show, OnPoint live stream.
We're going to give you the inside scoop.
Don't miss it.